I was looking back at my old college curriculum the other day.
Oh, yeah.
Not for nostalgia, really, but just curiosity. And I saw Introduction to C++ icon there.
Ah, the classic.
I remember spending 2 entire semesters just trying to understand the syntax. Years of my life, honestly, dedicated to just getting a computer to print "Hello World" without some fatal error code.
It was a rite of passage, wasn't it? The syntax was the gatekeeper. You couldn't build anything if you couldn't speak the machine's language perfectly.
Exactly. But looking at the deep dive we've prepared for today, I genuinely had this moment of, I don't know, existential shock. We're looking at a workflow right now in 2026 where that entire barrier, the years of syntax, the missing semicolon nightmares, it's
gone.
It's gone.
But what's so fascinating is what replaced it. The bottleneck didn't just disappear, it moved. It shifted from, can you write the code, to, well, can you think clearly enough to ask for it?
That is a massive pivot. So the only thing stopping me from building software isn't a technical skill anymore. It's just my own ability to articulate what I want.
Precisely. Clarity is the new code.
Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome to the deep dive. It is Tuesday, January 27th, 2026.
Yeah.
I'm here with my guy co-host, and today we are getting our hands dirty.
We are.
We aren't just talking about AI trends in the abstract or what might happen in 5 years. We are looking at a concrete, step-by-step workflow for how to build a real functioning web app from scratch.
And we're going to be really specific. We're analyzing a guide on modern app creation that uses 2 main tools, NotebookLM for the planning phase, and then Google Antigravity for the actual building.
Right. And for anyone listening who's thinking, oh, I don't need to build software, I'm a manager, just stick with us. Because this isn't really about software. It's about how we create things now. We're going to walk through building an AI invoice generator. I know it sounds boring, maybe.
It sounds a little dry.
But wait until you hear the numbers behind it.
It's the perfect case study. It strips away all the hype and just focuses on pure utility, shows you the plumbing of the new internet.
So here's our roadmap. First, we're going to talk about this huge philosophy shift, why clarity has replaced coding and why that's actually harder for some people.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Then we'll look at the brain of the operation using NotebookLM to plan, then the builder using Google Antigravity to execute, and finally how to scale it so it's not just a toy, but a real product with a back end and users.
It's the complete life cycle, from just a vague thought all the way to a deployed application.
Let's jump into that big realization first. The why. You mentioned the bottleneck shifted. I want to dig into that because I feel like I've tried to use AI to build stuff before, and frankly, I usually get garbage.
You are not alone. That's the most common complaint I hear.
Yeah.
AI can't code complex apps.
I'll admit it. I'll go into a chat and type, build me a cool productivity app. And it spits out something that looks like it was made in 1998. The buttons don't work, and it just hallucinates features. It feels like the promise is broken.
That's the classic trap. See, in the past, the really hard part was the translation. You had an idea, I want a to-do list, and you had to translate that into Python or JavaScript. That was the hard labor, that was the skill.
Right.
Now, the AI handles the translation, and it handles it perfectly. So if the output is bad, it's not because the translator failed. It's because the source material, your instruction, was bad.
Wow. Okay, so that's a tough pill to swallow. You're basically saying my vague prompts are just exposing my own vague thinking.
I mean, yeah. In a way, exactly. If you say, build me an app, the AI has to make up all the details. It has to guess the user flow, the color scheme, the database, and it guesses based on averages, so you just get a generic mess.
So the new hard skill isn't syntax.
The new hard skill in 2026 is product architecture. It's knowing exactly what to build and explaining it with extreme precision.
So if code isn't the bottleneck anymore, what stops people now? Why isn't everyone walking around with $1 million app in their pocket?
It's the discipline of the plan. Most people want to skip right to the building part. They want that dopamine hit of seeing the screen light up. But the winners, the people actually shipping products, they're the ones who spend 80% of their time defining the blueprint before they ever ask the AI to write a single line of code.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
It's like trying to build a house by telling a contractor, just build me a nice house. You're going to end up with a weird house.
You'll end up with a kitchen in the bedroom and no front door.
So essentially the barrier is no longer technical capability, but the clarity of the human intent.
Correct.
Right.
Vague inputs create vague software.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about the what. The source material we're looking at suggests building an invoice generator. I have to be honest, when I think of revolutionary tech, my mind does not jump to Invoice Generator. That sounds incredibly dry. Why this?
It comes down to what we call boring scale.
Yeah.
You can chase the flashy, never-before-seen ideas, Uber for dog walkers on Mars, but those are so high risk, they require changing user behavior. An invoice generator. It addresses a constant, annoying problem. Every freelancer, every small business, every contractor needs to send invoices.
And the numbers in the source material were staggering. I had no idea how much traffic these basic tools get.
They're huge. Some of the basic invoice tools out there, tools that look like they have been updated in a decade, are getting over 2.1 million visits a month.
Wait, 2.1 million a month for a simple form that just spits out a PDF.
That's right, because it solves an immediate pain. And the source makes a great point here. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. You just need to be slightly better.
Right.
If you can build a tool that's cleaner, faster, or has better AI defaults than the old ones, you only need a tiny fraction of that 2.1 million to have a very successful product.
It's like the unbundling of software. You don't need to be Salesforce. You just need to be the best tiny tool for one specific person.
Exactly. And Google Trends shows the search for AI invoice generator is just a vertical line going up. The demand is there. You just have to meet it.
So does a builder need a revolutionary, never-before-seen idea to succeed?
No, just improve an existing solution that already has high demand.
Okay, so we have our idea, invoice generator. We know the demand's there. Now, step one. The source calls this the brain. This is where NotebookLM comes in. Why aren't we going straight to the builder? Why not just open up a chat and say, start coding?
Because of what we just talked about. If you go straight to the builder, you'll be vague. NotebookLM is like your architect. It forces you to slow down.
Walk me through this workflow. I go to notebooklm.google. Then what?
You don't just dump a random sentence in. The guide suggests using a prompt builder first. It's basically a template to define your constraints. You define the niche, which is invoice generator, your skill level, say beginner, and the style, like minimal or modern. You paste that structured idea into NotebookLM.
And what does NotebookLM do with that? Isn't it just like a document reader?
You'd think so, but it's more than that. It sort of acts like a mirror. It processes that intent, and then it interviews you. It summarizes your idea back to you. It suggests features you hadn't thought of. It outlines a user flow, and it asks these critical questions like, how will you handle currency conversion?
That's incredibly useful. It's like having a product manager sitting next to you asking, okay, but what happens when they click save?
Exactly. It finds the holes in your logic before you build them. And the crucial output of this step, the whole point of it, is what the source calls the final prompt.
Define that for me. What does a final prompt look like? Is it just a sentence?
No, it's not a sentence. It's a comprehensive text file. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 pages long. It details the color palette, the typography, the button behaviors, the database schema, even the error messages. It is a precise set of instructions that leaves zero room for ambiguity.
So the physical output of this entire first step is what exactly?
A single, highly detailed prompt that acts as the app's blueprint.
Okay, I have my blueprint. I have my final prompt. Now I'm ready to actually build. This is where we switch tools. We're moving to the builder, which is Google Antigravity. Love the name, by the way.
It is pretty cool. So Antigravity is the execution engine. And unlike the web chats we're used to, this is a desktop app. You open it up and it looks like a chat interface, but it has permissions to access your local files.
Why does that matter? Why on my desktop?
Because it's not just giving you code snippets to copy and paste. It's actually creating files on your hard drive. You take that final prompt from NotebookLM, you paste it in, and this is a key detail from the source. You select the Claude Opus model.
Why that specific model? Why not Gemini or GPT-4?
In the context of these 2026 tools, the source really highlights Claude Opus for having the highest reliability for complex coding tasks. It creates fewer bugs, it structures the code better, and it hallucinates less. Might be a bit slower, but for coding, accuracy is everything.
Okay, so I paste the blueprint, I select Opus, I hit enter. What happens? Describe the experience for me.
The dev team in a box wakes up, it reads the blueprint, and immediately starts creating files. It writes the index.html for the structure, the style.css for the design, the script.js for the logic. It does it all at once.
And the timeline for that?
The source says about 5 to 10 minutes.
That is wild. I mean, 5 to 10 minutes to do what would have taken a junior developer weeks.
And you aren't managing it, you're just watching it happen. You see the files just appear in your folder in real time. It's almost spooky.
Okay, here's where I get skeptical. Because nothing is ever perfect on the first try, right? Even with a great prompt. Let's say the app pops out, I open it in my browser, and the green is ugly. Or a button is in the wrong spot. I don't know, CSS. Am I just stuck?
Not at all. And this is the beauty of this zero-code workflow. You don't open the code file. You go back to the chat window in Antigravity. You treat it like a designer sitting right there with you. You just say, make the layout simpler, or change that button to dark green.
So wait, I'm not digging into code. I'm just giving feedback in plain English.
It's just plain English. And because Antigravity has access to the files it just wrote, it knows exactly what to change. It updates the files for you instantly.
What about actual bugs? Like, if I click generate and nothing happens.
You just described the error. Hey, when I click generate, nothing happens. The AI investigates its own code, finds the missing logic, maybe a broken event listener or something, and it fixes it.
So how does a non-coder fix a broken feature?
You just described the error in plain English to the chat.
Okay, so now we have a front end. It looks good, it works, I can generate a PDF, but the source mentions a level up step, the back end.
Right, because initially what you've built is a static tool. It just lives in your browser. If you refresh the page, all your data is gone. It's what developers call stateless.
Which is fine for a one-off thing, but if I want to run a business, I want to save my invoices, I want a history, I want customer profiles.
Exactly. And traditionally, this is where the difficulty curve goes vertical. Add a backend usually means setting up a server, configuring a database, handling security, API keys. It's a nightmare for beginners.
Ugh, I'm getting a headache just listening to that list.
Yeah.
That's the part where everyone quits.
That's always the wall people hit. But in this anti-gravity workflow, the prompt is just absurdly simple. You just tell the chat, add a sign-up and login system so users can save invoices.
That's it. You don't have to specify what kind of database or where to host it.
Nope. The AI understands that the request save invoices implies a database and authentication. The source notes that it'll likely integrate something like Firebase or Supabase automatically. It sets up the auth rules, creates the database structure, and connects everything.
Does adding a database require me to start a new project file?
No, you just continue the same chat, and the AI evolves the existing app.
That is just incredibly efficient. So now we have a working app. It has a login system, but an app without users is just a file on my computer. We need to talk about marketing.
The part everyone fears, the build it and they will come fallacy.
Right. And the source suggests going back to NotebookLM for this. Why switch back?
Because anti-gravity is for building. NotebookLM is for thinking. You go back to the studio section in NotebookLM where it already understands your project, and you prompt it. Give me a step-by-step plan to get traffic to my AI invoice generator.
And because it knows the niche, it's not giving you generic advice like post on Instagram.
Exactly. It's not going to tell you to start a TikTok dance if that doesn't fit. The strategy the source highlights is SEO and content. It suggests creating content around terms people are already searching for, like free invoice generator template or AI invoice generator for small business.
And the app itself becomes the solution inside that content.
Precisely. You're not aggressively selling, you're providing value, and the tool is the payoff right there.
So what's the primary goal of this first version then? It's not perfection, is it?
Not at all. The goal is just feedback. You want to get it into the hands of real users, even just 10 people, so they can tell you what's missing or what's broken. That feedback loop is what turns a project into a product.
It really seems like the biggest risk here isn't technical failure anymore. It's just not doing it.
The cost of failure has dropped to zero. The tools are free or cheap. The time investment is hours, not months. The only cost left is your own hesitation.
So the primary goal of version 1 is simply user feedback.
Exactly. Not perfection, but feedback from real users to guide improvements.
We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, I want to recap this Lego block philosophy and give you one final thought that might just change how you look at every problem you encounter today. Stay with us. And we are back on the deep dive. We've been unpacking this zero-code builder workflow using NotebookLM to plan and Google Antigravity to build.
It's really a fundamental shift, isn't it? It democratizes the actual act of building something.
It really feels like playing with Lego blocks. You just have these distinct pieces that snap together.
That's a perfect analogy. Think about it. You have the idea block. You combine that with the NotebookLM block to get a plan.
Then you snap that plan into the Antigravity block to get an app.
And then you add the user feedback block to get a real product.
And none of those blocks require you to know how to injection mold plastic to keep the metaphor going. You just have to know how to stack them.
Right. You're the architect, not the bricklayer. And honestly, it's so exciting because it removes that whole intimidation factor.
I think the thing that sticks with me most from this deep dive is the idea that waiting is now the only real mistake.
It is. In 2026, if you have an idea and you don't build it, it's not because you couldn't, it's because you didn't start. That old excuse, I don't have a technical co-founder or I don't have the budget, is gone.
That's a little haunting, but also really empowering. It puts the responsibility squarely back on us.
It forces a shift in mindset. We are moving from a world of how do I build this, which is a technical question, to what deserves to be built, which is a very human question.
What deserves to be built? That is the question. Because now we can build almost anything.
The bottleneck is no longer the machine. It's our own imagination and our ability to clarify our thoughts.
So here's our challenge to you listening right now. You probably have that one idea, that little tool you wish existed for your work, or that hobby project you've always put off.
Open NotebookLM. Just do the first step.
Exactly. Don't worry about the database or the marketing yet. Just go to NotebookLM, type in your idea, and let it generate a plan for you. Just see what the blueprint looks like.
You might be surprised at how real it feels once you see it all written down. It stops being a dream and starts being a to-do list.
And once it's a to-do list, well, you're only about 10 minutes away from having it running on your computer.
And that is a very exciting place to be.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. It's been a fascinating look at the future of building. I think I'm going to go try to build that productivity app again, but this time, I promise to be specific.
Let me know how the blueprint turns out.
Will do. Thanks for listening, everyone. Take care.